show players what Major League life is about, and show them, just how to be major leaguers. I mean, like I said, Chance Adams right now, he is MLB.com has him as the number 2 prospect for the Yankees. Justice Sheffield was another guy they got from Cleveland in the Andrew Miller trade. He's number 4.
Right.
And there's the guy, Domingo Acevedo, who throws about 100. He's listed at number 6. And Albert Abreu, who they got from the Houston Astros in the trade for Brian McCann. He's number 7. So that's 4 top arms right there. And any one of those guys could wind up as a starter. Maybe not next season necessarily, but and the Yankees also have. I mean, it's almost embarrassing how many arms they have in the minor leagues. Clark Schmidt, who was the number 1 pick last year, he's right now regarded as the 12th prospect in the Yankee system. I mean, any other system, this guy would be top 3.
Right.
Dylan Tate, who they got from the Texas Rangers last year. He's number 13. He gets the former number 4 overall pick. He's the number 13 pick or number 13 prospect for the Yankees. So there's no real shortage of arms here. It's just a matter of which one or if they're lucky, ones plural wind up being starters and can battle their way into the rotation. Now, next season, the Yankees are looking at Severino, Tanaka, Sonny Gray. That's your front 3 right there. So, how does the rest of the rotation shake out? Is Jordan Montgomery going to be a starter again? And there was, then CeCe would be, your number 5 guy. And there's also the possibility that they're talking about making Chad Green a starter because, that was after like Severino 2 years ago was, lights out in the bullpen, but when he was starting, he couldn't get the job done. Well, they waited a year. They tried him out in spring training again because he was a natural starter like Chad Green has been. And obviously, he was 3rd in the Cy Young voting last year, Severino was.
Right.
So the Yankees are hoping to be able to do that again with Chad Green, but, that's cross your fingers and hope for the best kind of a thing.
And we should say Aaron Boone had his press conference on Wednesday, announced as the new manager, of course, for the Yankees. Seemingly handling the press pretty well, which, as you've covered lots of teams over the years.
Yes.
Is a very important thing to have a decent relationship with the media. One thing I want to read, I was just noticing this in the Daily News, say Mike Mazzio. Is that how you say his name? Mazzio?
I don't know, but
okay, we'll say Mazzio. He said this about Stanton. He goes, as one Miami TV reporter tweeted, if Stanton does go to the Yankees, which he has, he will need to change his approach with the media. When he didn't like things here, meaning Miami, he just wouldn't speak to us, and nor was he seen in the clubhouse. That won't fly in NYC, which is very true. So,
well, yes and no. I don't know that anybody necessarily needs him to be a spokesman for the team or be the face of the franchise. It's always nice when your highest paid guys are that guy. Derek Jeter obviously served in that role for more than a decade because he was the kind of person who would take accountability. The other thing that you have to remember is Aaron Judge doesn't necessarily like that spotlight. And I noticed anyway that a lot of his quotes sounded just like something Jeter would say, where he would kind of answer a question, but when you went back in your notebook later and you saw what he said, it's like, all right, I can't use this. So he mastered that art very early on. Now that being said, I think having 2 players of that ilk, huge sluggers like that, basically they're going to want to talk to whoever it is who hits the home run that day. So if Judge hits the home run, they're talking to Judge, and Stanton probably won't even be bothered. Or if Stanton hits the home run, then Judge won't have to worry about it, and he can just take a shower and get out of the clubhouse. I think there's going to be enough players to talk about. But that being said, I think Stanton does need to realize that he's going to have more of a responsibility in New York to be a bit more media friendly maybe than he was in Miami. I mean, let's face it. How many reporters actually cover the Marlins?
I don't know. I mean,
it's not that many. Trust me.
I feel bad for the fans in Miami because they've been played for suckers seemingly the entire time they've been
for suckers for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I know that.
That's where we're at with this franchise. The ownership suckered them for a new stadium, and now the group that's fronted by Derek Jeter came in and more or less told them, look, we're probably going to have to trade Stanton to make this work financially. And some people have responded by saying, well, if you didn't think you could make it work financially, then why'd you buy the team in the first place?
Right, and why would the team, the ownership before, if they couldn't make it happen, why would they sign up for that much? You know?
And I mean, I just wanted to say, I mean, the deal that was made. I mean, so many people say, well, they just gave him to the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees traded an all-star here. Starlin Castro was an all-star last year at second base. One of the minor league pitchers they gave up was a top 10 prospect, Jorge Guzman, who, I mean, this kid, his fastball is regularly clocked in the triple digits. So, I mean, that's a very live arm. The shortstop they gave up is Jose Devers, who's actually the cousin of Red Sox third baseman Rafael Devers, but nobody knows what kind of prospect he is. He wasn't among the Yankees' top 30 prospects. And believe me, I'm not trying to justify this because the Yankees stole Giancarlo Stanton. There's no two ways about that.
Sure.
But I mean, let's not pretend that the Marlins didn't get anything from this trade,
right?
Because they got. I mean, and already the talk is that they're going to flip Starlin Castro and maybe he goes to the Mets, among other teams.
It wouldn't be the first time that a player went through the Marlins to get to the Mets.
Well, yeah, there you go, Mike Piazza. Thank you very much. But I don't think that the Marlins will keep Castro's contract because he's making, I don't know, somewhere $11 or $13 million next year, and they're trying to pare down as much payroll as they can.
Right.
So I mean, you got to give credit to Brian Cashman in this trade. He kind of laid in the weeds, as they say, and when the situation got to a point where he could take advantage of it, that's what he did. And like we were saying before, the Red Sox really didn't show any interest. The Dodgers didn't really show any interest. And there weren't too many other teams, if any, left who could afford that contract.
That's right.
So, hey, the Yankees are in a position where here's our offer, take it or leave it. And the Marlins were like, all right, you know what? You're our last hope. And this guy is willing to say yes to go and play for you guys, although the trade hasn't been announced officially yet because Stanton's physical is still pending. But that's the situation. That's where we are.
Right.
I mean, the Yankees, as far as I'm concerned, still need to address some pitching issues. People.
Well, let's save that for another time, Tim. We're running out of time. Just want to mention, you had the M&M boys, and now you got Stanton and Judge. So we'll see if they play the way they did.
Ruth and Gehrig, Mantle and Maris, and now possibly Judge and Stanton. We'll see. I mean, it could be legendary.
It could be. Anyway, brother, a couple of things. We've talked about the Giants, the Yankees, the Jets. There's nothing to talk about the Mets because they're not doing anything. The Heisman Trophy.
Like I said before, Baker Mayfield in a landslide. The Oklahoma quarterback, who was pretty much everybody's favorite. He got 732 first place votes, 2,398 points to easily win the award. Bryce Love, the running back from Stanford, was second, and just to compare, 75 first place votes as opposed to, like I said, 732, and he got 1,300 points in the voting. Louisville quarterback Lamar Jackson, he got the award last year, I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
He was third with 793 points. So landslide victory for Baker Mayfield, and deservedly so. The guy had a great season. And he is the first ever walk-on to win the award. So congratulations go out to him. I'm sure he had a fun weekend at the Downtown Athletic Club, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Okay. We should say the Islanders, we'll talk about the NHL very quickly, the Metropolitan Division, the tightest division in all of hockey. You got a 10-point gap between first place and last place. Islanders are in fourth a point behind the Devils. The Rangers are in, sixth. 2 points behind the Devils, 1 point behind the Islanders. So it's a tough decision right now, which is always good for hockey, and especially in hockey in this area because of the three teams, which is the only league that has three teams in the same area like this. So it's, I think, good for the Islanders. Islanders have been playing well, even though they lost to the Bruins on Saturday. They've been playing well, I think.
Well, yeah, they just had a 4-game road trip, and that didn't go as well as it might have hoped. But they're playing the Capitals tonight, and a win puts them in second place. I think the other big story that's going on with the Islanders is that they're submitting proposals for a possible 18,000-seat arena over in Belmont Park.
Right, that's like
and there's also a possibility that could turn into the new home of NYCFC, because they also submitted a plan for a stadium in that area.
Right.
And I don't necessarily think that that's really where NYCFC wants to be, but that area they're taking bids and they're taking proposals. So why not submit one and see what happens with it? But it's entirely possible that one of those two teams could have a new home at some point. So
yeah, I'm not.
We'll have to keep an eye on that.
We'll have to see what happens. I mean, I lived in that area for a little while, and I do know that it just with the traffic from the racetrack, which isn't that crowded. It's a very small area for cars to get in and out of.
Right.
So, I mean, you can go to the Parkway, with Cross Islands right there. There is a train station there that they use only for big events like the Belmont Stakes. But I'm not sure that area would be a great place to put an arena. So I like my idea is right across the street, knock down some buildings where the Mitchell Athletic Field is and use that area, but that's not going to happen. But we'll see what happens, because it's the only place in Nassau County, and the Islanders want to play in Nassau County, that's really available, unless you take a state park or something. So
exactly.
By the way, MLS, we're running out of time, Tim. They finally had their league champions named, or they won. Who was that?
Toronto FC won the MLS Cup. They defeated the defending champion Seattle Sounders 2-0. The match was played in Toronto, brother, but there was no snow. I know you were very concerned about that.
I was because that's. I saw a couple of games. I saw a New England game a few years ago that was literally playing in the snow. I mean, look what happened to the Bills this week. They had 8 inches of snow.
Crazy.
I don't know. You know what? I think and when you get 8 inches of snow and you can't see, then maybe you call the game. I'm sorry.
Well, that's what should have happened in Buffalo. That was a disaster.
If you can't see,
I'll tell you what,
horrible.
If that would have happened in Toronto, that game never would have been played. I don't care TV or not; they would not have played soccer in 8 inches of snow on a field.
Well, I hope not. It's only
there's
fair.
no chance. It would have been postponed.
Well, I hope so.
But yeah, U.S. national team forward Josie Altidore scored for Toronto in the 67th minute, and Victor Vazquez added a second goal in stoppage time. So Toronto actually becomes the first team in MLS to win the domestic treble. They won the MLS Cup. They won the Supporters' Shield as the team with the most points in the league, and they also won the Canadian Championship in June. So congratulations to them.
Well, we got to go, brother. You've been listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC HD, Garden City, New York. And I just have to read one thing here. Just to let everyone know, Frontiers every Monday, 10 p.m., hosted by Joe Whalen. Blues, bluegrass, British and Celtic, traditional country and acoustic folk rock. Join Joe Whalen every Monday at 10 o'clock for Frontiers right here on WHPC. Coming up next, Big Ed with Good Gold. So keep it tuned. Bye-bye.
Break it up.
Take care, brother.
Later.
The opinions expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College.
Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail to WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York, 11530.
Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
The Nassau Mix.
Baby, there's nothing holding me back.
The 90s, 2K, and today.
I'm the one